Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Skull World, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm your host, Dave. You can find me on Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook at Skull World. Speaking of Twitter X, I got the big man, been doing it a long time, Brett from Vike Central. How the hell are you doing, Brett?
I'm doing fantastic. Obviously, it's an exciting time right now for us Vikings fans. A lot of stuff in question, so it's going to be a fun few days, fun few weeks. But I really appreciate you having me on, Dave.
No, man, it's pleasure's all mine, man. I appreciate you're a guy. You're a guy I respect on Twitter. You put out the news. No, everybody's got narratives, everybody's got opinions, but I like the way you put stuff out, and that's why I reached out to you. What is the? Can you summarize today's events for us as you saw it?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, we were talking a little bit before, and just a lot of smoke screens, in my opinion. I mean, I feel like that's been the case the last couple of weeks. Like everyone has a report, but not a report that's really telling you anything that we didn't know already. They're just wording it differently. Like people are surprised that Kirk's testing free agency. Like, didn't Kevin?
Oh my God! Call me surprised.
I know. Didn't Kevin O'Connell say that during his interview at the Combine? Like, Kirk, he deserves to test free agency. Like, he's very processed. This dude is like step by step. Everything has to go perfectly. So I don't think there was a chance that he wasn't going to test free agency. I mean, this is probably going to be his last big contract. He's gonna do it the right way. So nothing surprising there. But yeah, he's going to test free agency. Maybe we hear something tomorrow. Maybe he waits till Wednesday. But obviously, that's the big question mark before we really do anything else, because it's going to depend on kind of our strategy through the rest of the offseason. So
before we continue, all the listeners, if you're listening to this right now and it's already past 1 or noon, shut up in the comments. This is all old news, but I'm gonna post this as soon as we're done. It'll be posted like midnight eve of the illegal or the legal tampering period. So shut up in the comments. I know this is old news, but hey, we're recapping the day. This is the time I could get this man on, and we're gonna just recap the day, give us our own opinions. So if you're watching this past Kirk signing or past him going to Atlanta, shut up. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, the latest thing, Ben Gosling just basically switched gears a little bit after Diana Rossini tweeted out, kind of contradicting him. He goes, the Vikings continued contract talks through the weekend with Kirk Cousins, who's now about 14 hours fielding other offers. My sense is the Vikings haven't minded Cousins gauging his market, especially if it will help him put their offer into context with others. Busy week ahead.
Yep.
Earlier, it sounded like him in interviews and interviews with Paul Allen that he was gone.
Right.
Yeah. And now it's, this is just helping out the Vikings gauging if their offer is correct. I'm like, I mean, we're like you said, yesterday we thought it was going to happen Monday. Then someone came out in the morning and said, it makes sense because the past 2 times he signed contracts was the day before tampering. This is different. He's a free agent. Up until yesterday, which would be Saturday in the time frame you guys are watching it, we thought it was gonna be on Monday anyways, and the deadline ultimately was the 13th.
Right.
But because someone got excited, thought they'd put out a tweet, the whole Vikings universe just got into a big hullabaloo, and wondering why he's on the trapeze on Sunday. I'm like, he's with his kids. But I had Skoldoc said, and I've had him on my show. He's a orthopedic surgeon. He does Achilles tears. And he said it should be healed by now. The thing he should be doing now is building up strength. So he is fine to go out and do activities like that.
Yep.
So rest assured, if Cousins comes back, he didn't tear his Achilles at urban trampoline park. Right. It's okay.
Yeah, I saw that too. I mean, I don't know if it was another one where he's just like the agents had put something out there. like kind of like he did with his training videos, and like just to prove that your Achilles is okay. But I did see Skoldoc say that, yeah, it's all about strengthening up, make sure you can drop back and throw the ball down the field and everything like that. So
he's a big move on from Kirk guy too. So, but I appreciate it that he's not crazy. I mean, he gets into some Twitter fights, but
yeah,
when I had, he's just doing it because the guy pissed him off. But but I'm glad he came out and was straight with everybody, because people were like, I don't think this is safe, and what's he doing, taking a day off?
Right. It's not a Tuesday. Why has he got the day off?
Shouldn't he be worrying over there in a corner somewhere trying to decide? Shouldn't he have pen in hand somewhere? No, man, he's living the best life. He's living the best life.
Yeah, he sure
but,
is.
We'll stick on Kirk for a while, obviously. So does it really sound like there's more suitors than Atlanta? It does. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw Tom say maybe Denver, but they have cap issues galore. And they're trying to fix it a little bit, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff they want to do.
If I'm Kirk and I know that they have an $84 million dead cap hit this year, am I really going to Denver?
No, it's either Atlanta or Minnesota. I mean, he wants to compete right away. I mean, Atlanta's ready to compete, in my opinion, especially in that division. I mean, if he wants to go to Atlanta, that's totally, I
mean,
not surprising.
I did a video on Atlanta and New England, that was before Belichick fired. I want to say resigned, but he fired. He got fired. Yeah. So I was naming those two as great potential landing spots for him months ago, right? And so was everybody else. So the surprise wouldn't be there that there is a market for Kirk Cousins right now. I think it was it Breer that said 51 million, and now he's saying 40. Help me out, man. You're giving me a range here.
I know it.
Where do you think the market is for him?
I think I don't think he's going to get 50 plus. I mean,
no.
At the end of the day, he is a 35-year-old quarterback, soon to be 36-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury.
That's context, right? That's context.
Yeah. So I think anywhere between 40 and 45 million is going to kind of be the sweet spot. If Minnesota does resign, I think he might be a little bit cheaper than that. I'm not going to say a ton cheaper. I think he might give a slight discount to Minnesota if he do decide to come back. But if Atlanta's giving him money, I'd expect anywhere from 40 to 45 million. And that, that's the last couple of weeks. That number, like you said, has been everywhere. Like, people really don't know. I mean, the time between the combine and free agency is just people throwing stuff at the wall and see if it sticks. I mean, it's just.
I personally was saying 38 to 42. And I was contemplating a discount. I've kind of stuck with that.
Sure.
I could see 45. I would not cry in my soup if he signed for $45 million. No. I think some added context. My thought was that, hey, there is a possibility that you go into free agency and that offer is not like you wanted, or the potential of a few days later or a week later they renege because they're not satisfied with your medicals, right? So it's like, I got a bird in the hand with the Vikings. I got one and a half in the tree, maybe in the other, but I could have none in the tree if someone reneges. And we see that occasionally, right? Where the team backs out of the contract or the player backs out of the contract because it wasn't what they thought it was be. And we've been on the receiving end of one of those where we got Zadarius Smith after he reneged from the the
Ravens
legal tampering period with Baltimore, right?
Yep.
So we've seen that, and I think there's been others. But yeah, I was like, okay, 38 to 42. I felt would probably be a number. I really think he wants a second year, and honestly, I know I've talked to people that aren't huge on Kirk, but would not cry in their soup either if he signed a 2-year fully guaranteed contract. That is still a very short contract.
Yes, it is.
What do you feel about that? I mean, with the cap space we have in 2025, is really a 2-year guaranteed contract that big of a risk for us?
No, to be honest, no. Like you said, it's just 2 years. Like, from the beginning, once the season ended, he kind of wanted all structure. he was looking at guaranteed money. That's what he's in that point in the career. That's what he's looking for. He wants structure. Obviously, he wants a big payday, but I know for sure they're not going to go anywhere near a 3-year
No,
with
I wouldn't
guarantees.
think that. Yeah.
No, nowhere near that. But if they did a 2-year fully guaranteed, that would not surprise me at all. Like 2-year 75, 2-year 80, it wouldn't surprise me at all, to be honest with you. And I think that's a fair number for Kirk, to be honest with you. I mean, some people are going to hate that, but I think that is a fair number for him.
It would have been cheaper if he would have just gave him 2 years instead of 1. He'd be playing for $35 million this year.
Very true.
And he'd be looking like a genius.
Yes, he would be.
Yeah, he's throwing the Achilles tear, though. That's hindsight, it's 2020 and all, but he looks like he's healthy and he's back, and or he will be back. And it's one of those things that one 36-year-old guy is not the same as another 36-year-old guy.
That's true.
Me at 36, yeah, I'm not coming back from that. Yeah. Kirk, who is like TB12 light, it's like, as far as keeps himself in shape and stuff.
Yes, he does.
It's a different animal. He can come back from that, and that's not his game. He'll just drop back, pocket passer.
A pocket passer, exactly. Yeah, I don't think he'd have any. I think he'll be ready to go. For sure by training camp, in my opinion. From what I've heard, he's way ahead of schedule. Medical technology nowadays, like these surgeries, the recovery times, they have different exercises, different stretches, different rehabs that just make these things go a lot quicker, a lot smoother. And obviously, like you said, Kirk takes care of his body, better than anyone, almost up to that Tom Brady level.
Yeah, you don't get jacked like that, right? No, I still love that quote where he goes, I've always been this jacked. That's funny from the 2022 season. But yeah, and if you guys are listening to this and Kirk is signed with Atlanta, don't say anything in my comments, damn it. This is probably, I probably shouldn't have did this video, but I'm kidding. No, something to watch in the morning. As I'm going live, if you're watching this, I'm going live at noon Central Time.
Nice.
To just look at Twitter, breaking news, talk to people in the chat. So yeah, if you're listening to this, tune in. But there is another tweet that's talking about, and there's Breer talking about how there's real that you're trying to look into trading for Snead, which would make Hunter coming back more appealing, throwing Kirk and run, and going for it all in this year. I mean, why not? That is an option that's still out there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously the defense has some holes to take care of, but like if you're gonna maybe re-sign Danielle, maybe go get Ladarius Sneed. Obviously there's players out there that you can go get that'll be impact right away. The defensive line is a mess right now, so I don't know if you can somehow get a Christian Wilkins. Like you said, we have a ton of cap space in 2025. If some money needs to be pushed around, they can make it happen. But the defensive line needs some work. The offense is pretty much ready to go, in my opinion. I know TJ is probably going to start on the PUP list going into the 2024 season. But we have capable guys back there. Josh Oliver is a better pass catcher than people give him credit for.
I was talking about he was a receiving tight end in college.
Yeah, at San
and his his Baltimore catches were freaking highlight reel catches.
Yeah, he's got great hands. Yeah. Giving him another opportunity. I think Nick Muse has a potential to be more of an impact guy. He was like
the preseason MVP.
Yeah, he was. He's athletic tight end who can stretch the field a little bit. Johnny Munt, Kevin O'Connell.
Stepped up. Munt stepped up, man.
Yeah, he did. I mean, they got guys there that can hold down the fort until week 4, week 5, whatever it is, before TJ comes back. Then obviously we got to get the extension done with Justin Jefferson. I don't think that's going to be an issue. It's going to get done. He's probably going to be the highest paid wide receiver at the position. I mean, he will be probably around that $35 million. You got Jordan Addison, second year in the system.
And he was, and one of the things I wanted to bring Kirk back, just it's like those what if things, like what if Kirk continued, would Addison knocking on the door of the rookie touchdown record, because he had 6 when Kirk went down. And then Nick Mullins got him 2 more touchdowns late in the year, which was great. But yeah, he wasn't doing anything with Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
So seeing and it just seemed like even in preseason, I was saying this in preseason, it looks like these guys got chemistry. Looks like, and then the season hit, boom, chemistry.
Yep.
Why aren't you starting this dude? Why aren't you playing this guy more? That was the big complaint.
Yep.
So him having Kirk go one more year with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, he was pushing the envelope as far as production goes before he got hurt. And you cap it off with San Fran and the Packers. How well he played. You just wanted, even the hardest Kirk haters over there in Score North were liking it at the time. Like they were like, holy crap, oh, Achilles, no, we don't want him anymore. He doesn't work on Tuesdays. So it's
gotta love those narratives.
I always put in a crack on that whole flip-flop of anyways. But so yeah, the whole idea of going all in, I think it wouldn't be all in, because I still think, regardless of what they do free agents wise and re-signing, I think they're drafting a quarterback. How do you feel about it?
I think they are too. I don't think if Kirk gets extended or re-signed,
I don't think it has any effect.
I don't think it has any effect either. And going back to last offseason, that's why I really did want them to get a 2-year extension done, because he still would have been under contract this year. It would have been a perfect bridge situation. For
and I would have been I'm going to be cracking on Kwesi if he doesn't have him this year, because he could have had him, and we could have had him for $35 million.
I know it. And
he would be 15th highest paid quarterback in the league for the second year in a row, or probably maybe even worse.
It would have been a perfect situation.
Do you think maybe it was he thought that they were going to get someone in that draft and they didn't, and so he had to go plan B?
Yeah, it could be. I know they're really interested in Anthony Richardson, but he obviously went. Did he go number? What number did he?
4?
I think he went 4th, and they just didn't have the ammo. They were the 23rd pick. That was a really big jump to get up there. Maybe if he would have dropped to like pick 7 or 8, they were really gonna make a move. And obviously, Will Levis was there when their pick
we
was
were
up
supposedly really on him, and
yeah,
Vikings really like him, and KOC's friends with a coach in Kentucky or whatever. Yeah.
So yeah, that is a really good question. The 2-year deal would have been good again, because this draft is so good, especially with quarterbacks. It's a deep quarterback class. If they do re-sign Kirk, I maybe don't see them maybe making a big push up. But, if JJ's McCarthy, if they love him as much as people say, and he falls to pick 7 or he's there at 11, that's probably the selection, in my opinion, no matter what. And then maybe if Drake May, they're talking maybe he's the 4th guy now. JJ jumped him and Drake May starts sliding. Maybe they were big fans of Drake May. Maybe he's the quarterback of the future. But Kirk will be an expensive bridge quarterback, but it's only going to be a 2-year situation. And then you got a quarterback 3 more years on a rookie deal. So it's not like it's the end of the world.
Yeah. Big problems when you get a several Pro Bowl quarterback with $100 million in cap space in 2025 with a rebuilt defense, because we've had 2 off seasons and 2 drafts to fix it. And just poor us. That's the way I was thinking of it. That's what I'm always telling people. I'm like, are we really? It's almost like we want to throw the bathwater out when we're trying to clean the baby. The baby's not done yet. We got to clean the baby. That's just a terrible analogy, but I'm going to use it. And that they don't want to see us potentially do good with Kirk when we've been complaining all this time and we had no cap space. Kirk's the reason for it. No, it's really been the drafting, but Kirk's the reason for it, or it's the coaching because of Ed Donashell, or I call him Donashell, or just various reasons, right? Zimmer's defense was not the same. We got older defensive players. We held on to Anthony Bart, too long. Various reasons, but the complaint is that Kirk's contract was disabling our ability to go out and get good players. funny. We get a new GM, and then the cap problem solved, and now we have money in cap room, and now we want to get rid of him. And it's like, which you can't have it both ways. Right. We finally got the situation, and he's playing at a elite level, first in passing or first in touchdown, second in passing. He gets hurt, beats the representative NFC in the Super Bowl NFC contestant, and it's like, let's get rid of him. Let's get rid of him. And but the convenient thing is that he's 36 and he's got Achilles tear. So I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do. I mean, everyone's, reasons for that, they are what they are, but at the same time, he's the best quarterback for this team, and even all the national media are saying it. I mean, I agree with the national media for once. They're saying Kirk go back to Minnesota. That's your best fit.
Jordan Love wants him gone because he's seen him play and he doesn't want to face him.
Yeah, he saw what they did, but the game he got injured.
And that wasn't that the highest point? I mean, with Jordan Addison doing the Lambeau leap, going up by 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
And then I want some of that. That was a drug I want more of.
I know we were on a high, and of course Minnesota sports. The football god just reach in and rip your heart rate out on the same day.
Like 1 hour later.
Yeah, it's honestly it. It's honestly.
But we had so that's enough about Kirk. So 21 minutes of Kirk. Okay. Now, so Danielle Hunter, right? Yep. No one's complaining about him going to free agency. He's not money hungry or all about himself. He's just he's getting a free pass here. He's going into free agency, and they're talking $25 million a year, right? Yep. Where do you think? I almost think he has to be like the Vikings aren't going to be able to pull that off.
No, unfortunately not. His previous contract, or one of the previous contracts, was an absolute crap show of a deal. Like, his agency kind of screwed him over. So I think he's going to take advantage of this one and get paid. And I don't blame him at all. Not everyone can have agents like Mike McCartney. I mean, the dude's the best agent in the league for sure. Just knows how to work the books and, get guys the best deals possible. But Danielle's going to go elsewhere. I mean, it is what it is. The writing's on the wall. I think a sneaky spot he could land, in my opinion, is San Francisco, especially if they let Chase Young walk. I think that'd be pretty awesome. I know there's been speculation that Joey Bosa is kind of wants to go there. They're kind of teaming him and his brother up. But I would not be surprised if Danielle, that was a big target for San Francisco. But Jacksonville's been the talker for a while, and Jacksonville, they always got a decent amount of cap space. I think that's probably where he's going to get paid the most. But if he does want to go to contender, take a little less, I think San Francisco is a sneaky destination for him. But he's one of the greatest edge rushers the Vikings have seen in the franchise, and he'd be like on the top of leaderboards if he didn't have his neck injury and then his pec injury. I mean, he missed a year and a half at least just from injuries, and that's probably 20 plus sacks that he missed out on.
I would put him ahead of Jared Allen. Reason being is because I know I am Jared Allen at the when he was at the end of his Vikings career was just pass rushing, not he wasn't I guess fell in his lane. Let's say he wasn't. He was just trying to get after the quarterback and try to get that record and.
Yep.
And people were just running just running by him and draw plays, or he was overrunning everything. And
yep.
And I'm like, Danielle Hunter sacrifices his stats for the team. He's equally as good a running, and that's why I'm saying it is because he's equally as good a run defender as he is a pass rusher, and he could dominate a game. He could shoot the gap and destroy, get in the backfield. But I think he plays within the defense and. The defense is better for it, honestly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think he had 16 and a half sacks last season. And that was playing on a real, not a really average defensive line. I mean, opposite was the DJ Wanham, and I think he had 8 or 9 sacks. And I think he had half of them versus the Chicago Bears. I mean, it's not like he was getting a sack every other game. I think he had 4 or 5 sacks in the 2 games versus Chicago. So his numbers were kind of inflated from those 2 games. And then, the guys in the middle, I mean, you had Jonathan Bullard, you had Harrison Phillips, but it's not like they were getting pressure in the middle, pushing the guys to one side to Danielle. Danielle was generating that pressure on his own. And then, like you said, in the run game, yeah, he's a beast in the run game too.
He's just
he's
amazing.
not a one-trick pony at all.
Oh, and he can recover.
Oh yeah.
Like I seen him out of a play and then like, damn, how'd he get over there? He recovers really well. And he
got a fantastic motor. I mean, he plays so hard. I mean, that he's a championship level player, and unfortunately, in the last couple of years, we just haven't had the guys around him to.
I changed my mind, Kwesi. You have to get him at all costs. You can afford it. There you go.
Honestly,
but you didn't bring up a couple guys like, well, you brought Wanham, and I'm gonna throw in Davenport there because they moved his void date to equal Cousins and Hunter, and there is talk about possibly signing him for a really small deal because there's nobody's going to pay him 13 million like we did, or 10 million, or 8 million. No one's going to fork out money for a guy that played 2 games, right? So a 1-year prove it deal for him would benefit us because of the void money, the dead cap hit we would take, and signing a small deal would actually almost be zeroed out. Like he would be free player this year. It'd be worse if we let him go. So I think. Do you think we're going to try to keep him? And do you think Wanham is a prove it your deal guy too?
Unfortunately for DJ Wanham, I think he is coming off a quad injury. I mean, that's a pretty significant injury as well. I mean, he's not very old. I think he's like 26 or 27 years old.
Yeah, I think so too.
So he's going to bounce back fine, but I think he is probably a 1-year prove it deal for someone again, unfortunately. If he would have been healthy,
we could potentially lose all 3 of our pass rushers.
Potentially, yeah. If he would have been healthy, he probably would have. There's a good chance he probably would have got double-digit sacks, and he would have probably got a pretty nice multi-year deal from someone on the open market. But now coming off an injury, unfortunately, he's probably gonna have to do another prove it, deal, 1-year deal. And the same for Marcus Davenport. He had that ankle foot injury pretty much all year long. They obviously know more than we do about the injury. Was it actual an injury, or was he just there to get his paycheck? I mean, at some points it kind of felt
there was
that way.
And I seen something that there was a surgery involved.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that was real, and then I remember that I am remembering it correctly.
Well, if there was a surgery involved, then obviously
I think there was.
Yep. But like you said, that's probably going to be a 1-year prove it deal as well. And Vikings fans seem to hate those now because not a lot of them have worked out for us all that well. It just hasn't.
Well, and
out.
What do you think of the? Before I do that, since we're talking about the pass rushers, Christian Wilkins, who would you think because they're both Snead and him would both be big. Snead would be even bigger because the money and the trade we'd have to give up.
Yep.
Who would help our defense more, a interior pass rusher or a cornerback?
That's a great question.
All I do is spin gold here, man.
Obviously, Byron Murphy Jr., he was okay last year. He wasn't fantastic, but he was a decent corner.
I know we were bad without him.
Yep, we sure were. So you can't overlook that signing. I thought that was a pretty decent signing last year. Didn't overpay for him or anything like that. Good solid corner on a good deal. So obviously Byron Murphy on one side. Mekhi Blackman was pretty good his rookie year. Showed a lot of promise.
Except when one of the last plays against Cincy where he decided to just be a bystander. But okay, I won't. I will only harp on that for the next 5 years, and then you're free.
Yeah, well, but after those 2 guys, then you got like Andrew Booth Jr., which is
who I really liked.
Yeah, so did I. I thought that was a great pick in the 2nd round.
That's who I wanted. That's who I thought we were going to take. I thought let's trade down in the 20s and take Andrew Booth Jr. And then we traded 32. I'm like, shit, we're not going to get him. And then he's still there, and we take Lewis Seen. And then I'm like, okay, we traded down. I'm like, oh, shit. And then we traded back up. And I'm like, you better take Andrew Booth Jr. And we did. I had him like 3rd highest. I ranked him 3rd at corners coming out of college. I still think he's that. I still think he can be that. And he's a very aggressive run defender.
Yep.
My coach, God rest his soul, said, he plays with reckless abandon. And I feel like that. He's a little bit of a hothead and he riles up the other team. The last game, I think, was against the Lions. He started a fight.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I forget who saved him, but one of the big defensive linemen came out and saved him. Sure. But yeah, I mean, there's some depth there. I had Yannick Eckhart on. He said one guy is going to come out of those three. Like one guy is going to come out of those three. So I think he said, let's go with the D lineman. And I've had, I saw, God, who was it? It used to be Ben Lieber said the same thing. I'd rather put the money into defensive line than I would cornerback.
I agree.
Because that's going to, because we have a bigger hole there, but it will also help the defensive backs more as getting to that quarterback.
Exactly.
So they don't have to cover as long. And that just makes complete sense to me.
Yep. And that was going to be my point as well. Like, there's guys that are capable back there in that defense, and they're probably going to add another guy, probably not to the level of Ladarius Sneed if they do add someone on the defensive line. But they are going to add some more depth there. But Mekhi Blackman, I think he's got all the potential in the world to be a starting quarterback. And then we obviously talked about Andrew Booth, and I haven't given up on him like you, Dave. Like, I think he's still got potential. It's just his third year. I mean, and I thought he showed some promise towards the back end of the year last year. He was actually one of our better corners according to PFF the last 6 weeks of the season, where he was getting playing time when there were some injuries in the secondary. But yeah, if we had an opportunity, Christian Wilkins wanted to come play for the Vikings, and we were able to get something, I think that's the play to make there. And he's going to get paid loads of money, especially after that Chris Jones deal where he's getting paid his AAV is $32 million a year or something like that. I expect Wilkins to probably be about $5 million under that. So probably $27 million a year, which is pretty steep. But if we can make the money work, that's an impact player right there, man. One of the best defense tackles in the entire league. I don't know if
he's eccentric too, and we've had eccentric D tackles before.
I know it.
He's been known to, I don't know, be a little grabby, which is kind of a weird thing.
Little Johnny Randall in him. A little Johnny Randall.
So yeah, he's they had him mic'd up, and I listened to that. But then he had some controversy back in college because him and his teammates were fooling with other players a little bit on the field. And Josh Allen's kind of on the experienced that a little bit in the pros.
Oh, sure.
And he got kicked out of a game.
Oh, boy. I think I kind of remember that now that you're kind of talking about it.
Go look it up. Go look up Christian Wilkins and that and yeah, so yeah, it's a really funny and it's just plain as day. It's in the middle of the field. He walks up, does it, and then walks away, and it's like they showed it live on TV. So yeah, he wasn't getting away from that. It was hilarious. But yeah, one thing I don't want Danielle to do is go to the Bears. So I'm willing to pay him $5 million out, whatever. I'll do a GoFundMe. I'll give you this $5 million if you just sign with somebody else outside of the North. Please. I don't want to face you.
I was just going to say, I don't want to see you 2 times a year. I'm sorry. Love you, but don't want to see you 2 times a year. Go to some AFC team where we play every 4 years or something like that. I mean, go to the Jaguars. That's fine.
He's a player that I'd be sick to see in another uniform, man.
I know. Kind of like Harrison Smith. I mean,
I wouldn't blame him. He's a guy I wouldn't blame. We screwed him over, a little bit.
Yep. No, I agree with you 100%, Dave.
Now, one of the things that Spielman was good at that was, whether or not it was to his detriment, was signing his guys early.
For sure.
Extending them early. One, possibly, and I was listening on it's NFL radio, and he's on 33rd the team or whatever, but on NFL radio he comes on a lot, and he said that he would pitch it to the agent like, hey, we're taking on the risk here because we're taking on the injury risk.
Yep.
You're getting your money early. Yep. So this is a value, obviously you're getting your money early. You're getting your big payday. You got this, longer contract. You got security there, and we'll take on the injury risk.
Yep.
Right. So that's how he pitched it. Kwesi is giving multi-year contracts to free agents, but he's given 1-year deals to guys that have been here a while.
Right.
And that's like the exact opposite, right? I think he gave 1 year to Davenport, but that was because of his injury history.
Yep.
But now we got Danielle, Cousins, Wanham, and Davenport, but other players going into free agency, and we're extending Johnny Munt and Nick Muse, and a safety that we didn't know was going to be this good. Thank God we signed him a year early. That was the one time he was, that definitely benefited us financially.
Yep.
But it's a stark contrast, I think.
Oh yeah.
How can we field a team and have continuity if all our, in the future years, if we're just throwing 1-year extensions at all our players? Can you talk to that a bit?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Spinning gold here. Spinning gold.
Yep. You're always doing that. I got to give you props. I got to give you props. Yeah, I don't know if it's just because, it's not, they kind of got hired to take over this roster. They're not super familiar. They're not really their guys. I mean, like they re-signed Johnny Munt. That is one of their guys. Like he
so
came on
maybe it's a short-term solution right now, and things will change.
Yeah.
Starting with probably Justin Jefferson.
Yep. So yeah, it is a stark contrast from what Spielman did, because Spielman, if you were an above average player and he was one of his guys, I'm gonna pay you. I'm gonna do right by you. And like you said, sometimes to his detriment. Like he probably kept him a year or two longer, like Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr, Adam Thielen. If they would have
Harrison Smith. I mean, but he's still playing, right?
Yep. So there's got to be a fine line, I guess, between building a team for longevity, building for the future, but not giving out too much guaranteed money that'll kind of cost you in the long run. But at the same time, I do think we need to start giving contracts that are going to keep these guys here long term, just to build the culture, to build a roster, to build some continuity. So it's going to be interesting this offseason. I think it's really going to be interesting to see what these contracts look like starting tomorrow, because I think they are going to be pretty active in free agency.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that next. To be fair, he did extend TJ Hawkinson.
He did.
And it was actually semi-team friendly. It wasn't as big of a deal as people made it out to be initially. And when the more you looked at it, it's like, oh, this isn't too bad.
Yeah, I love it when these contracts drop and there's no like information, no like deep breakdown, and people just go, bat crap crazy over it. Like, oh my gosh, he paid this much, and then like you look at the details and like, okay, that's not that bad. Like, people just love to get overworked. And I think it was only like what, a $17 million per year deal. Like, talking about that now, that doesn't even like. That's not that much, to be honest with you, for like a top 3 catching tight end in the league. Like, what's the big deal?
Number 1 at the time. He was going to be. He was 1A at the time when he got hurt, which was crazy.
I think people are just kind of upset that the Lions traded him and then got Sam Laporta in the first round, and he's one of the best tight ends now, and he's just getting paid so little, obviously, because he's a rookie, so he's not going to get paid a lot. But I mean, I was fine with the Hawkinson deal from the beginning. I never had a problem with that. So
yeah, so I give him a little props to that. So I mean, but to go on to giving props to Kwesi, is I think he does handle this free agent period very well.
Yeah,
I think the Vikings organization is a steel trap, and I've been saying that. None of these guys, Charlie Walters, Mike Florio, I could just laugh at them all day. They're just making shit up, and I know this. And I think even the biggest critics of Kirk Cousins would probably, or that I've had in private, tell me like, yeah, I don't believe shit. Why are we believing him now when we don't believe him with JJ? We don't believe him with JJ. He's full of shit there, but here we'll believe him. So and it was a great opportunity for Florio to make the rounds again once or twice a year. He wants to say something crazy. And so people have him on the Pat McAfee show just to find out his sources were loyal readers that give him information that he checks with people in the know. Oh, and it wasn't that I had a conversation with Julie Cousins. It was that I heard my wife talking to Julie Cousins, and I could sense her frustration from not having a contract done last March. Yeah. Oh, and Kirk Cousins, and I'm not going to say this, but I am going to say this. Oh, he's checking in for the number 8 jersey in Atlanta, just to have that all blow up in his face. But Kwesi's a steel trap, man, and that's what I'm about to say. Kwesi's a steel trap. He said it in the podium. I promise all of them that I will negotiate in private and not in the press. And people will not post that, will not quote, will not share that tweet or share that comment because it hurts their narrative that, I can't make shit up now because they know it's false. But anyways, in the last year, I didn't know we were getting Davenport. I didn't know we were getting Murphy. I didn't know these things until they actually freaking happened. I'm like, holy shit. We just got the top edge rusher in the free agency, and we got the 5th highest, one of the top 5 cornerbacks available. And they're all top 50 players. And then we go and re-sign all our other guys too. How we were negative 20 million. How did we do this shit? Props to Kwesi to manage the crap that Spielman left him to where we are now.
He's done a great job cleaning it all up. And I think they're so quick to judge. I'm like, I think at the beginning when the new regime came in, I thought it was going to be a 2-3 year process at least to clean up this mess. It wasn't going to happen overnight. And, he's in his 3rd off season now, and most of that stuff is cleaned up. I mean, obviously you got a big decision coming up on Kirk Cousins, but it's not like that's a problem. I mean, you're making your own decision there. You're not stuck with, you got some dead money and stuff like that, but he's cleaned up the contracts of Eric Kendricks, Adam Thielen, Delvin Cook. He did a good job kind of, resituating the salary cap there. And, obviously Rob B does a great job too, for the Vikings. Yeah. So he's still here, with Kwesi, but, I think he hasn't gotten enough credit for that. We're in a lot better spot than we were 2-3 years ago. Cause we were in what everyone says cap hell. We were. And I think that's maybe why Kwesi got hired here, because he is such an analytic guy. He's a super smart dude. So, he was able to clean up the mess rather quickly. And now we got a ton of flexibility. Even this offseason, we got a ton of flexibility. But looking ahead,
we could get to 60, 70 million cap space, no problem, if we re-sign people.
Yep. And like you said, in 2025, I think we're top 5 in salary cap in 2025 so far. Not
the downside is we're
losing a lot of people or anything like that. So
downside is we're losing a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
yep.
But if we but this is something that I like, is that we have 9 draft picks this year, even though we don't have a 3rd, but we have 2 4s. I think we had 2 5ths.
We can maneuver if we need to. Yep.
Yeah. So even if we move down in the 2nd round, we could probably get enough to where we can get back up in the 3rd, if not get a 3rd. Mm-hmm. And still get Sweat from Texas, which I want a nose tackle that is the size of a truck, and he is. So, but what was I going to say? So with Kwesi, he was getting us to this point, and he had said that now I'm in the 3rd year. Now I'm in the 3rd year of my plan, and he brought up the fact that now he could build. Like, it was a competitive rebuild, and now with the build is over, now I can be competitive, right? Mm-hmm. That's the way he said it in one of his interviews. Often not shared that often. Like, that doesn't fit the narrative that his whole plan all along was to have a rookie quarterback take over in his 3rd year. I don't know if that was the plan. Usually 3-year plan is supposed to end up in a Super Bowl, but not ours. We're going to hand it over to JJ McCarthy, apparently 21 years old. I meant to Google who is the youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl.
That's a good question.
So I think we'll win either way. I think we win either way, even if Kwesi didn't plan on this. If he did, great, whatever. But hey, we got Kirk and a rookie to take over, or we got just a rookie.
Yep.
Something we haven't done even though we're picking 11th, we've never picked a guy in the top 10 ever in our history.
Yeah.
And maybe we trade up and do that. It'll be the first time we ever taken that leap. So I think us as fans, whether or not if you're a Kirk fan or not, or the Kirk stan or not, you're gonna be happy because there is someone to pass the torch to.
For sure.
Is someone that has talent, someone that everybody thinks is going to be good, and then you got a coach that just got everything out of Kirk. That hopefully he can get everything out of this rookie.
Yeah, and I think he will. To be honest with you, everyone's saying, "Oh, well, look at Jaren Hall." I mean, the guy was a 5th-round draft pick. I mean, he was going to be a project. No one expected him to come in and be a superstar right away. And obviously,
and we've only seen him for 3 quarters now.
Exactly, so. 3 quarters, exactly. And he got knocked out with a concussion in the second drive of his
after playing good, right?
After playing really well. So yeah, I think if Kevin gets his guy, or if Kirk's the guy again, I trust his decision. Like anything that Kevin O'Connell thinks when it comes to quarterback, I trust his judgment. A lot of smart people in the league really love Kirk Cousins, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. Zach Robinson's the
Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly. Zach Robinson's the offense coordinator in Atlanta now. Oh, Atlanta has interest in Kirk Cousins. Go figure. So I trust his judgment. And like you said, if McCarthy's his guy, we could take a guy in the top 10 for the first time. What better way to come into an offense if you learn behind Kirk for a year or two, or if there's another bridge quarterback, or you kind of get thrown into the fire, which I don't know if they'll do depending on who they draft. But you got Justin Jefferson to throw to. You got Jordan Addison to throw to. You got TJ Hawkinson that you're going to be able to throw to. Probably not right away the 2024 season, but you got weapons all over the place. You got a really good right tackle. You got a top 3 left tackle protecting your blind side. So, I mean, whatever the situation is, if a rookie does have to come in, the situation is really well, goes really well for a rookie if they do have to step in. But like you said, I mean, we're kind of living the best of both worlds right now, because if Kirk is there, great, he's playing really well in this system. If not, we get to watch a rookie grow before our eyes.
My first and second options are in play.
Yeah,
and I'm happy about that. My first, second, and third options are in play.
Yep.
So I'm like, let's, I'm good with all that.
If we don't re-sign Kirk Cousins, get ready to take a quarterback in the top 10. That's what's going to happen. They're going to do everything they can.
And you better. That's or God, you are going to get hit from all sides.
Yep. The 5th pick is really intriguing because obviously the Chargers have Justin Herbert.
Right.
But Harbaugh's close with Kwesi. There's no bad feelings there from 2 off seasons ago. If Minnesota's looking to trade up, I think Harbaugh knows that's a really damn good situation for JJ McCarthy, and they'll be happy to drop back 6 spots if they want to go. And they can
still get like an edge. Still get a really good edge rusher, and in fact, one from UCLA probably looks pretty good to him.
Exactly.
I like him too. I can't say his name right now. What's it? Teo?
Is it Latu?
Latu.
Yep.
Yeah, he's super. I guess he had his neck fused, so that's a little scary. But
UCLA guy. I mean,
yeah, why not?
Yep.
Right
in Los Angeles.
I just saw him in the combine, looking really agile.
Yeah. And him or Dallas Turner. If we went edge, Dallas Turner's
right. Him too.
Oof. Yeah.
Him too. Yeah, and here's what he should do, and I just joke about it, but someone actually put this on Twitter and got roasted. Was like, okay, he should trade with us and take JJ McCarthy and give us their quarterback. So I'm let's do that. You said he's the best ever.
Yep.
You need to get him. All right.
I saw that.
But hey, man, I appreciate you so much coming on.
Man, I love it.
Say again where you're where they can find you.
Well, you can find me at Viking Central, or at Vike Central. There's my username on Twitter. That's where I'm most active on. Pretty much active every single day, especially with free agency coming up. It's going to be a busy week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just follow me over there. I do some YouTube stuff, not a whole lot. I leave that up to the experts like Dave here, and his show. So I love hopping on whenever I get the chance. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and can't wait to see where these next couple of days take us.
And if you're watching this and Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, shut up.
Yeah.
Skull Vikes.